Good evening. This is a meeting of the Township Committee, September 18th, 2023. The notice requirements provided for in the Open Public Meetings Act have been satisfied. Notice of this meeting was properly given by transmission to the Asbury Park Press, the Middletown Sun, the Two River Times, and by posting at the Middletown Township Municipal Building and filing with the Township Clerk all on January 5th, 2023. Committeeman Clark. Committeewoman Kratz.
Here.
Committeeman Sedembrino.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Hybel.
Here.
Mayor Perry.
Here.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, I'd like to ask for a moment of silence to honor the troops serving worldwide, defending our constitutions, freedoms, and way of life. Thank you. Our first item on tonight's agenda, we have certificates of appreciation and proclamation. Tonight, I'd like to announce the Distinguished Citizen of the Year presentation honoring George Colbert. If Mr. Colbert would please come forward. Yeah. Time.
Get extra time in your speech.
Well, first of all,
Joe, microphone.
A meeting. But today we have a great honor. It took us a little bit longer than it takes us to normally do this, because the guy getting the honor this year is one of the busiest guys I know, and I don't think can ever retire, right, George?
Well,
I need a break though. Well, George, for those of you who don't know George Colbert is hands down one of the most generous, genuine, great human beings that Middletown is so proud to call a resident of this great town. From his philanthropic charity that he is constantly a part of, to everything he has given to local hospitals, to everything that he has done for this community, for the Middletown community, without an ask for anything other than to give back to the community. Because if you don't know, George comes from a pretty unbelievable history, an unbelievable story, truly a man that exemplifies the American dream. And if you didn't hear, just a year ago, right? Just over a year ago.
Yeah.
Now. George, along with his wife Vita and his son Rick, and a whole group of other people told the story of Trish Weir. And for those of you who don't know that name, it's because she is not famous, but well known to everyone. She was the victim that created Miranda's rights. And the chief of police just walked in. And George went and convinced and was able to partially convince, right? Vita was really pulled at the strings, but told the story of where Miranda's rights came from. Because they didn't come from a heroic story of justice for an individual that was penalized by the judicial system. There was a victim that created the very essence of why Miranda's rights have become a protected part of the duties of our police department and those that are being charged with a crime. But he told that story. He told that story, a story that needed to be told to the masses. And when I sit up here and I just watched the trailer again today, I sat there and watched and thought how unbelievable that George would be accepting our Distinguished Citizen of the Year award. Only one given out per year, but giving it to a man that also memorialized the old town hall, because this story, Miranda's victim, utilized my old office, Chief's old office, our old courtroom, and memorialized our old town hall as really the last setting that it was ever going to be used for. So I think we have that trailer. Joe, if you could throw the trailer up.
Miranda, a girl was grabbed on 7th Street on Saturday night, right around the same time that you got out of work. Can you describe her then?
Number one looks like him.
Tell me everything. And don't leave anything out.
You're sure about this?
All rise.
I don't want to see you become damaged goods. It's not just for me.
Prosecution calls Patricia Ann Shumway. Someone put this guy in jail for a long time.
The jury has found you guilty as charged.
Lowers, John explain.
Can you get me out of here? I believe. You're gonna ask me if I'm guilty?
I'm far more interested why you signed that confession.
What you're trying to do, a man as guilty as sin.
The issue is whether this defendant's confession should have been allowed.
It was coercion, plain and simple.
There was not an attorney present.
Don't make him the face of your crusade. What about Miranda's victim?
Raise questions.
What was these looking to?
Supreme history crime.
Whole world. There's nothing but to take from us.
Miranda did not request counsel, therefore we reverse.
It's just so hard to keep reliving this over and over. She's worked so hard. She's doing what's right.
Mr. Miranda, justice system has afforded you every privilege, every protection. This is not extended to your victim.
So as you can see, from Monmouth University to Temple, the Old Town Hall, to the Count Basie Theater, Attorney Brian Nelson appearing as the Supreme Court Justice in the trailer right there too. You can see obviously that this is a story worth telling, and we couldn't be more proud as a township. We couldn't be more proud as a community that on top of everything that George Colbert has built as an American dream, as a man of incredible integrity, and as a man just looking to give back to his community and doing it right here in this town. We are very honored to present the key to the township as our Distinguished Citizen of the Year. George, right.
Well, this is a beautiful building. I like the old one better.
You're the only.
By the way, there's an Easter egg in there, all right? So that in one of the scenes, we actually have a map of Middletown in there that I would not remove. So it's in there. Nobody will notice it.
I know,
except for
I-
anybody in Middletown that look for it, but that's fantastic. First, I'm really honored. I really am. I will say that, you know, I was totally surprised. I just was first informed when I came in here. The reality is that we have a distinguished Middletown. We have, I can tell you, Tony Perry, Mayor Perry got involved. So did Mayor Fiore. So did Mayor Scharfenberger. Mayor Perry took me around town here so we could identify locations. You forgot to mention St. Mary's Church, which we use. We used, in Belford, we used a sandy road because we have to depict the desert, all right? And then half the staff here helped process all the papers that had to get done and all that stuff, expedited it, and I'm thankful that you guys were in it too. I must tell you, it's an extraordinary town. It's an extraordinary place to live in Middletown. I was just telling Rick when I came over, almost 25 years to the day is when I bought the property on Navasink River Road that I really love and I adore, and I plan to have the rest of my life there. For 25 years, I've been a member of this community, and it is the best community in the world. Even our governor likes our community, all right? I don't see him moving, but it is a fantastic community, and I don't know that I could have taken, I mentioned Tony Fiore, also Frank Capone, who provided the Fort Monmouth school, which we use as our home base. We had all operations working out of there in a very short period of time. So I'm thankful to this community. I don't know that I could have done what I did in this movie without Middletown, without people like Tony and Tony and Jerry Scharfenberger. I've got to tell you, it's absolutely amazing to me that I live in such a place that not only, cares about its people as well, cares about the opportunities, cares about sending out this message, which I think you'll all find to be a very, very, very important message. Everybody say, well, I didn't know about the Miranda laws, Miranda rights, the Fifth and Sixth Amendment, the right to remain silent, the right to an attorney. And you're going to have a different perspective when you watch our movie. So I will tell you, please buy it. But I need to get repaid. But no, I think you'll all appreciate it. I think we did a great job. We got a great director, and the old building still you'll obviously be able to see old Middletown because it takes place in the 1960s, and I think we captured that pretty well. But again, thank you. But you're the guys that deserve the award, not me. Thank you.
Let's give it another thing. When you watch the trailer, you see the old mayor's office, and I sent the trailer to my parents, and was obsessed with the fact that Luke Wilson was using my office in the old town hall. She had no care in the world that that was my office, but it was Luke Wilson's office. So George, on behalf of the township, on behalf of our residents, we're so grateful to call you one of our own, and we're so proud of everything that you've done.
Thank you all.
One, two, three. Perfect. Congratulations.
I like perfect. Thank you. You take it.
Okay, Heidi.
Our next presentation for tonight will be recognizing September 2023 as National Preparedness Month in the Township of Middletown. And this time I'd like to invoke him.
I was very curious.
I would give an introduction to Jim Van Ness, but he's always sitting right in that front row right there. So Jim is, as our deputy OEM director, is here to just give a couple quick tips. And I know we have our graphic up on the screen for our Nixle alerts that we hope everybody will sign up for by texting Middletown NJ to 888-777.
Which is what I was going to say.
Oh, sorry, Jim. I'll say no more. Go ahead.
I want to, on behalf of the Middletown Office of Emergency Management, I want to thank the Township Committee for recognizing September as National Preparedness Month. It is National Preparedness Month, but I'm going to spare you a lecture on how to be prepared. I will point to you the fact that if you go to the Middletown website, which is middletownnj.org, click on Emergency Management, we have a lot of guides there, a lot of links to other places so that you and your family can be prepared. But as the mayor said, the most important thing you can do to be prepared is to have accurate information about a pending emergency or an emergency that's happening. And if you do, as the mayor suggested, with your cell phone, text Middletown MJ to 888-777 and connects you to Nixle, where you'll receive federal, state, county, and local updates on emergency that's going. If you do have any other questions, you can reach out to me at my office, and that's extension 2020, or stop by and see us at the Office of Emergency Management on the first floor here in the building. So thank you, Mayor and Township.
Thanks, Jim. Appreciate it.
One, two, three. Yeah. Thank you.
Big man, soul show come in. Oh, there you are. How you doing? Don't worry, Heidi will call you up officially. Don't worry.
Recognizing September 2023 as Ovarian Cancer Month of Middletown, I'd like to invite Turn the Town's TO volunteer Michelle Collins to please join Mayor Pat.
Good to see you.
So, for those of you who have not come to our township committee meetings in the past, Michelle's been here every year to discuss the Turn Town Teal project. But to talk about a silent killer, and that is ovarian cancer. So I want to thank Michelle for coming and talk about her initiative once again for 2023.
Thanks for having me. Really appreciative that Middletown is recognizing September as Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month for another year. Ovarian cancer is considered a rare disease with no screening test for early detection. We aren't able to find the disease early enough to make a difference in survival rates. As a new focus, ovarian cancer is believed to begin in the fallopian tubes, so removal of these tubes after childbearing during an opportunistic surgery or a planned surgery for people who have ovaries with increased risk factors is the new protocol. Awareness of your family history is also important. Sometimes ovarian cancer is linked to mutations in the BRCA gene, which is linked to breast cancer. Angelina Jolie brought a lot of awareness to this disease and her mutation by having prophylactic surgery to reduce her risk of developing ovarian cancer. She has the BRCA1 mutation. It's also linked to a syndrome called Lynch syndrome, which is linked to colon cancer. So if you have that in your family history, just be aware that you might be at an increased risk of developing ovarian cancer. Even if these syndromes or diagnoses came about through your male relatives, it can be passed down from your male relatives. However, I had no risk factors or mutations, and I was diagnosed at age 39, which is extremely rare. Most of the time, this disease affects older people. But awareness of symptoms has made surgeries less complicated as this disease spreads quickly. The main symptoms are bloating, early satiety, which is getting full quickly when you're eating, pelvic pressure or discomfort, and digestive or bowel issues. If ovarian cancer is suspected, it's important to seek treatment from a gynecological oncologist, which is a surgeon who is specialized in this area to remove any cancer that they can find during surgery. Oftentimes, almost 99% of the time, chemotherapy is also recommended, even if it's found at an early stage. I've become an advocate since my diagnosis 8 years ago. I'll continue to fight for those who haven't been as lucky as me. I'm super grateful to still be in remission, which is also not common as this disease has a high recurrence rate. We recently lost Middletown mom, Danielle Vidalone-Kranga, to ovarian cancer. She fought this battle for many years. And yesterday, Sherry Pollux, who was the longtime partner of Martin Truex, the race car driver, passed away from ovarian cancer after battling this disease for almost 9 years. I do this to help other patients. Last year, I met a woman at MSK Monmouth. I do volunteer work there, helping women who are getting chemotherapy and trying to provide hope to them at MSK Monmouth. And she had commented about seeing the teal ribbons around town and was wondering who had put them up. And I was so just honored and happy to say that I was the one that had put them up, because it made so much to her, and it meant so much to her, and it made her feel not alone and more connected. So this is the reason that I do what I do, and awareness and support for rare cancers is so important because they're underfunded. So I appreciate and thank Middletown for this honor.
Thank you, Michelle. When you see those teal ribbons, and I've already seen them start going up, obviously know that the best way that we can fight this cancer, fight this silent killer, is by awareness. So by promoting and people understanding more and more that this illness is out there and that they can get the right help that they need, they can be exactly like Michelle and be 8 years in remission. So since Michelle read almost what I have, and by what I have, I mean what Tara Raven wrote here, I won't go through it again. But we are very proud to once again, this is now from Michelle. Wow. I, Mayor Tony Perry, the Middletown Township Committee, do hereby proclaim that September of 2023 be Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month in the Township of Middletown, and be it further proclaimed that the governing body supports the Turn the Town Teal Awareness Campaign here in the Township of Middletown. Michelle, thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
I want to make sure you got.
Oh.
He's signaling yes.
Okay. Thank you. You too.
Right, am I done? Okay. What? Oh.
Our next proclamation is recognizing September 23 as 2023 as Middletown Day in the township of Middletown. And we have a proclamation recognizing September 24th, 2023 as Gold Star Mothers and Families Day in the township of Middletown. Our next item on tonight's agenda, we have approval of minutes for August 21st, 2023 regular meeting and September 5th, 2023 for a workshop meeting.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Committeewoman Kratz.
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Hybel.
Yes.
Mayor Perry.
Yes.
Motion carries to approve minutes. This time we have public hearing on proposed ordinances. Our first ordinance, 2023-3387, an ordinance amending the Port of Belford redevelopment plan area.
Any member of the public wish to speak on public ordinance number 2023-3387? Yep, Don.
Thanks, Joe. Good evening, my name's Don Watson, living at 1 Collinson Drive. I was just wondering if we can get a brief description of this ordinance. It wasn't attached to the agenda this week, and a little curious about what's being amended.
I mean, I'll let Brian go into any specifics, but this is about the solar aspect.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's for introduction. Brian, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go
I'm already being corrected.
So this redevelopment fund was originally adopted in 2017. Since that time, the township has been in multiple discussions with the designated redevelopers, which have evolved post-COVID as well, and project details have evolved post-COVID. There are, I mean, it's hard to describe in a quick synopsis. I mean, there's numerous details, some of which do relate to the solar development, which is taking place, which is also an ordinance on for introduction tonight. Some relate in part, but there's a separate ordinance relating to the solar project tonight as well for introduction. There are other components relating to the mixed use aspect of this project, which is designed to take place where the county parking lots are now for the C Street, well now C Street Ferry, formerly New York Waterway Ferry Terminal there. So it's mostly what I would refer to as technical amendments based on the project getting more refined and ready to go. We're currently in negotiations for entry of a redevelopment agreement for the mixed use component. We already have a redevelopment agreement in place for the solar component. But it's a variety of technical amendments, changing bulk standards and things, and just refining the 2017 redevelopment plan. It also includes a set aside for 15% affordable housing as well on this site, which was previously in this plan as well.
So we plan on building some housing down there. Although, I don't remember the ordinance from 2017.
Yeah, the redevelopment plan was initially adopted there in 2017.
Right. And there was housing in that ordinance?
Yes, mixed use, yes.
And
In fact, I saw a picture of Don in the Two River Times from that meeting. And it's you're like
My
navigating the
silhouette?
plane. It's not your silhouette, it's a full-on shot.
I think they did some charrettes at the art center.
Yeah, that's where it was from. That's where the picture was from.
Yeah, you remember those meetings, Tom?
yeah, I remember. I just don't remember what was written.
It was always mixed use, residential and commercial. This just refines it a little bit more.
Right, okay. Growing up in Belford, have an interest over there. In fact, before there was garbage collection in Middletown, we used to have to take our garbage down there to the dump. And dispose of our garbage that way.
Same place.
Same place.
Not a dump anymore.
Smells better now.
That would be a solar.
Yeah.
That's where the solar.
Although my wife was down there today to pay the sewer bill, and she said it doesn't smell so great down there. I just wanted to mention that the ordinance you're introducing tonight about the solar farm was attached to the agenda, and it hasn't been introduced yet. But anyway, I'm glad I was able to read up on that one. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks, Don. Any other member of the public wishing to make a public comment on public ordinance number 2023-3387? Seeing no member of the public stepping forward, move to close the public portion and approve. Second.
Yes. Committeeman Sedambrino.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Hybel.
Yes.
Mayor Perry.
Yes.
Motion carries to pass this ordinance on second and final reading. Our next ordinance for public hearing, we have 2023-3390, an ordinance adopting Circus Liquors redevelopment plan amendment for the delineated area consisting of Block 825, lots 53.02, 53.03, and 55.01, formerly Block 825, lots 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69.01, 70, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, and 81. Block 825, lots 58 and 70, and Block 870, lots 1 and 2 within the Circus Liquors redevelopment plan area.
Any member of the public wishing to speak on public ordinance number 2023-3390?
Embarrassingly, I have to lower this. Good evening.
Most people do after. It's okay.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Deputy Mayor, committee members. My name is Stefan Catanzaro. I'm an attorney with Day Pitney. My firm represents the interests of AHMHT Property LLC. Our client holds the contractual rights to purchase lot 55.01. Earlier today, our firm sent a letter to the mayor's office as well as the township committee, putting the township on notice that my client formally objects to the adoption of this ordinance. I won't restate the entire letter, but for purposes of making a record, I will note a few things. As stated in our letter, our position is that the ordinance as proposed to amend the redevelopment plan for Circus Liquors is a direct attempt to interfere with my client's currently pending builder's remedy suit against the township, which was filed on August 17th, as well as our client's contractual rights to purchase and develop the property located at 55.01. Prior to filing the builder's remedy suit, which obviously seeks to bring the township into compliance with its affordable housing obligations, we did attempt to engage the town in communications about perhaps rezoning the property to allow for inclusionary housing to bring the township into compliance. Unfortunately, those efforts were unsuccessful, which did result in the filing of the builder's remedy suit. after the suit was filed, the township has since engaged in efforts that we believe have been designed to circumvent the builder's remedy suit and the relief sought in there, as well as to interfere with our client's rights to purchase and develop the property. As it stands for this ordinance, it seeks to amend the redevelopment plan by allowing only a designated redeveloper to apply for the commercial redevelopment of the property, which is not our client. In corresponding ordinances that were adopted a couple of days after the builder's remedy suit was filed, the township introduced and adopted ordinance 1 designating a redeveloper, designating another entity as the designated redeveloper, as well as launching an investigation into whether the redevelopment area should be deemed a condemnation area. Those additional steps, we believe, are also designed to circumvent the builder's remedy suit and my client's rights. For these reasons, as well as those additional reasons stated in the letter, we would ask that the township not adopt the proposed ordinance. Thank you.
Any other member of the public wishing to make a public comment on public ordinance number 2023-3390? Seeing no other member of the public stepping forward, move to close the public portion and approve.
Second.
Committeewoman Kratz,
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Hybel,
Yes.
Mayor Perry.
People are entitled to their opinions. They're not entitled to their own facts. My vote is yes.
Motion carries to pass this ordinance on second and final reading. Our next item on tonight's agenda, we have introduction of proposed ordinances. Our first ordinance is 2023-3391, an ordinance authorizing execution of quit claim deed releasing reversionary rights and amending and restating restrictive covenants upon Block 607, Lot 6 pursuant to settlement agreement between the township and the New Jersey Titans Hockey Club in consideration for $1.5 million.
Motion to. Second.
Committeewoman Kratz,
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Hybel,
Yes.
Mayor Perry.
Yes.
Motion carries to pass this ordinance on first reading with a public hearing to be held October 2nd. Oh, you want to do six? Okay. Okay, October 16th, 2023. Our next item on tonight's agenda for introduction, we have 2023-3392, an ordinance authorizing entry into lease sublease agreement with the County of Monmouth and Port Belford Solar Farm LLC, the designated sub-redeveloper of a portion of Block 306, Lot 66 within the Port of Belford redevelopment plan area.
Motion to introduce.
Second.
Committeewoman Kratz,
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Hybel,
Yes.
Mayor Perry.
Yes.
Motion carries to pass this ordinance on first reading with a public hearing to be held also on October 16th? October 16th, 2023. At this time, we have a consent agenda, which would include resolutions 23-238 through resolution 23-246.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Committeewoman Kratz,
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Hybel.
Yes.
Mayor Perry.
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt consent agenda. At this time, we have the Township Committee acting as the ABC issuing authority. Resolution 23-247 is a resolution authorizing person-to-person and place-to-place liquor license transfer for plenary retail consumption license 1331-33-013-010.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Committeewoman Kratz,
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Hybel,
Yes.
Mayor Perry.
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt resolution 23-247. At this time, we have Township Committee comments.
All right, Committeeman Sedambrino.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I only have one item tonight. The only thing I want to point out is our recipients tonight, Mr. Colbert, Michelle with regard to Paint the Town Teal, and Mr. Van Ness that were here. Everyone has done things in the betterment of the town as a whole, which means more than themselves. And it takes a great person to do that and a great entity to do that. And we're lucky to have them here on the Township Committee. to represent the town. That's all I have for this evening, Mayor. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Committeewoman Kratz.
Thank you, Mayor. We were very fortunate and grateful that the weather cooperated, and only because of a short delay, we were able to remember those we lost from September 11th at our ceremony that was held in our garden. So it was a really beautiful evening, and Middletown has always promised to never forget, and we will continue to fulfill that promise each and every year. Also had the privilege to attend VFW 2179 held their Day of Recognition for our POW MIA yesterday, and also was a wonderful tribute and amazing that the people of the VFW continue to put on these ceremonies, and there's a wealth of history behind it. And again, it's the families that we'll never forget, and as a country, we surely should never either. So I was honored to attend both of those. That's all I have tonight, Mayor. Thank
All
you.
right, thank you. Deputy Mayor.
Just a couple of things, as Kim said about the 9/11 event. That was a major storm that came right before, and I was hoping not to cancel. We were able to pull that off. So very happy about that. I want to make welcome Mega Business Systems into town. They just opened up last week in Belford, so it's great, real close to my my house and my father's house now there. So welcome to town. And I want to thank the McCarthy family for handling and sponsoring a beach cleanup in Ideal Beach. I was able to drag my kids willingly to the beach and spend some time there Saturday cleaning. So thank you. And a big reminder, Middletown Day this weekend, 11 a.m. There we go.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed for the weather.
I'm going to work on that.
Okay.
All right. That's all
All
I
right,
have.
thank you. Just a few items. I want to thank the National Park Service. They held, since, I think the first time since COVID, a naturalization ceremony out underneath the lighthouse at Sandy Hook. Dozens and dozens, I think there was 34 individuals from 20 different countries that I got to swear in as American citizens. When you think about the history of Sandy Hook, and you think about the defense of freedom and liberty of our country, when you think about the individuals who fought and initiated America's fight for independence before there was an America, that all began and started underneath of that lighthouse, America's oldest, most continuously used lighthouse. When you think about that, and you think about swearing in dozens of individuals as citizens of this country, it's moving. I got the opportunity to do it back in 2019, I want to say, and it was just as moving this past, I guess, a week or so ago, as it was on September 6th. Though I really can't tell you the pride. There was a gentleman there, and he's a Middletown resident, so there's 3 Middletown residents that got sworn in, all from Monmouth County. So they truly appreciated the fact that it was taking place at Sandy Hook. And a gentleman, Middletown resident, and his 2 daughters were there, and he was becoming a citizen and from Canada. And it wasn't the smile on his face that choked me up a little bit. It was the smile on his 2 daughters' faces that were sitting there. So when you see that, you get a sense of pride, American pride, as to what a great country we have, what a great country we are, and what a great country we will be in going into the future. That's also, a good segue into obviously our 9/11 ceremony. Thank you to everybody who braved the weather. But while we were all sitting there waiting for the weather to pass, you thought about the fact that the 2,977 people who were killed on September 11, 2001, the 37 Middletown residents that were killed on 9/11. You think about their memory, and you think about their families. They didn't get the opportunity to just reschedule, right? So we were going to fulfill that promise that Committeewoman Kratz mentioned. to never forget and to continue that tradition. So very, very grateful to all the residents and all of our first responders that were there, to our fire department, our police department, our just amazing residents that year in and year out, despite the weather, are there to remember. And then finally, really unbelievable news that I have had to keep a secret for since Memorial Day weekend, and that is that the Secretary of the Navy has approved Middletown as the location for the commissioning ceremony for the new USS New Jersey, a nuclear submarine that will be commissioned at Naval Weapons Station Earl on April 6th of next year. A lot of news reporting said it was the 26th. That is not correct. It is April 6th, I promise you. But the week leading up to that commissioning ceremony, we'll put Middletown on display as dignitaries from across the country come and commission our Navy's newest submarine. So I had an unbelievable opportunity on Memorial Day weekend under the cover of Fleet Week we used to board the USS Cole and then walk right down the ramp onto the USS Oregon, which is a nuclear-based submarine as well, that similar class that just got into the fleet. And we did a dry run of what a commissioning ceremony would be out on Naval Weapons Station Earl. So an unbelievable opportunity, achievement for our town, and really looking forward to all of our residents, all of our businesses, everyone to be a part of this history-making event. So thank you to Captain Smith, the commanding officer of Naval Weapons Station Earl. I want to thank the Secretary of the Navy and the members of Congress and senators and everyone involved in helping get this across the finish line, because there was a little bit of geographical struggle that happened between North, Central, and South, and whatever other new designated areas of the state that exist are. But we got it. So I'm looking forward to it. So with that being said, any member of the public wishing to make a public comment may do so. Ask that you state your name and address for the record. Ask to keep comments to 5 minutes. At 4 minutes left of 4 minutes, I'll let you know that you have 1 minute remaining. With that being said, any member of the public wishing to make a public comment? I saw you out there the other day. You didn't drink all those, did you?
No.
Because I was going to say, you can talk to our chief, Craig Weber.
Yes. Yeah.
I know, but you're concerned that he's going to 50 bottles of alcohol that he was driving around with, chief?
No.
Go ahead, sir.
So I actually wrote him a letter back in January detailing what I'm going to talk to you next. I'm Peter O'Reilly, by the way, from 85 Golden Eye Lane, located in beautiful Port Monmouth. And I'm doing my best to try and keep Port Monmouth beautiful, maintain its beauty. And the little bit of work that I do is keeping Broadway / Church Street clean, picking up garbage with the help of the Public Works Department. They've been absolutely wonderful and very supportive, as is the mayor, having talked to the mayor. And the reason why I'm here tonight to talk to the rest of you is to look for a little bit more support and hopefully make it a little bit more of a priority. What came to my attention even most recently is, as you well know, the Army Corps of Engineers is doing flood mitigation work in the neighborhood there. And over the summer, it was shocking to see how many tires that they had trucked out of the Tidal Marsh area there. And so the point that I want to make is I think there's a long-standing history, and I certainly witnessed this and reported a lot to the Public Works Department, who's been great. There's a lot of history with people dumping garbage, large objects of garbage, not only tires, but furniture, bedroom mattresses, what have you. Crazy amount of stuff, and it happens very frequently. And I was hoping that I can find more support from the township or make it more of a priority to maybe enforce littering in the area. I can speak for myself personally. I'm out there a couple times a week, maybe 3 or 4 times a week, picking up garbage. I fill up maybe each time half of a 37-gallon bag of trash each time I'm out there. And when I tell you that it's bad, I mean, it's really bad. It's just people wantonly littering. Like today, driving here today, I could just see how someone just threw out a whole bag of fast food refuse, if you will, just willy-nilly. And it's all sprawled out on the streets. It looks very ugly. It's unsightly. And it's just a constant battle. As I'm out there picking up garbage, people take the time to stop. They talk to me. They voice their displeasure. They give me the thumbs up for doing the work that I do. And really, I'm hoping that, that you can find a way to improve the area. And the one idea that I had that I discussed with the mayor, that was an excellent idea when I met with him during his open hours, office hours back in the fall of last year. He had mentioned about installing cameras like they do at the Middletown train station. And I do know that other towns do that. I think like Patterson is one example of that, where they have a very elaborate setup. All I'm asking for is potentially that we could set up like deer hunting cameras. They're cheap and easy, quick to install. You just pull out a SD card at the end of the day, you review it quickly. And in terms of enforcement, the laws on the books are helpful in that respect, in that if you see someone or witness garbage being thrown out of a car, you don't have to actually know who the driver is. It could be tagged to the car and enforce anti-littering in that respect. So the penalties are pretty severe. I'm not looking to penalize residents, but just to underscore how serious of a matter it is. Littering by itself is a $200 fine, but as I learned looking through my son's driver's ed manual, it's actually $1,000 fine if you're caught throwing garbage out of a moving vehicle and a potential loss of driver's license. And so the type of trash that I pick up, I see consistently it's the same type of litter day after day, presumably from the same type of people littering. And just as an example, you have a lot of open container litter, and I'm not talking about just a beer can or a little liquor bottle that you get on like an airline flight. I'm talking about like, I don't know, like a Seagram 7 bottle or a Traveler's vodka bottle. I mean, sizable amount of alcohol in one of those containers. And it's just rather shocking, the thoughts that someone can consume that much alcohol and, dispose of the evidence so willy-nilly, consistently day after day. I mean, this is like a daily, if not every other day occurrence for just these 2 types of bottles that I find on the side of the road. And so in addition to the trash, obviously with open containers, presumably there's a lot of DUI occurrences happening in that neighborhood. And I see evidence of that with the tire skid marks. I would say at least on average once a year, you'll have property damage, whether it's the public guardrail or private property. The last incident was a fence that was damaged along a private property fence that was damaged a few months back, presumably from drunk driving. And it's a very beautiful stretch of roadway It has, you know, a very wide shoulder. It gets a lot of use by families, running, cyclists, people walking with kids, riding their bikes, dog walkers, what have you. And I'm just here to express my desire and need to really impress upon you if you can make it a little bit more of a priority and find a solution for litter in that neighborhood. It's not only along Broadway and Church Street, but I would say on Main Street leading into Belford Ferry Terminal, as well as Port Monmouth Road.
Yep.
People seem to, and just very quickly wrapping up, they seem to think that, oh, it's okay to litter because it's not, it's open space, it's not on someone's property. But eventually that trash accumulates onto people's property. And if it doesn't fall onto their property and ends up in the waterway.
Yeah, we just so you're aware, I mean, we obviously we didn't publicize it back then, but the chief was able to get his team to put several of our cameras out there, which resulted in catching a few of these individuals and issuing them those fines. You're not going to catch, obviously, every license plate perfectly and you know,
Sure.
all that good stuff, but the you know, I'm sure, I mean, first of all, I applaud you for the work that you do, because you're not just coming to the meeting and saying, here, you know, do something about this. You go out there. I mean, I see you all the time out there, walking and collecting that trash. So I think I can speak for everybody up here when say we're very grateful for you doing your part in just being a part of the cleanup of the town. I know that Ted and Clean Communities has worked out there quite a bit. And during those summer months, you definitely get that higher volume of individuals grabbing those liquor containers from wherever and dumping them just willy-nilly kind of. So we'll continue to do that targeted enforcement out there. And you don't always need those lights and sirens to give people a ticket, right, Chief? So.
Sure. And his staff certainly spend a lot of time to keep the area beautiful and, you know, clearing brush. And I do know they use some very expensive machinery because I'm one of those people that writes a check to purchase that machinery for another township. But yeah, it certainly helps not having that those machines clearing brush that also are like cutting into aluminum cans and plastic bottles and whatnot. So.
And I think we can do you, obviously, the courtesy, and Ted, can you take this bag from him? And take it to Kane's Lane?
Thank you. I'll find a more convenient place. Okay. I'll leave it out by the doorway. Thank you. Thank you.
I don't want to have you drag it any further. Drop it right at that door, and Ted will take it from there.
Okay, thank you very much.
Right,
And I
thank you
appreciate you listening to me. Thank you
Absolutely,
very much.
Appreciate it. Any other member of the public wishing to make a public comment? Yep, Ben. All right, if I catch you getting that much stuff again, Seagram 7?
Benny Moran, 39 Brevent, Leonardo. I've been up here in front of you people quite a few times. And lately, yeah, a long time,
Good
okay.
to see
Yeah,
you
all right,
too.
calm down. And I've been bringing up Wagner's Creek by the house.
I missed you. What'd you say?
Wagner's Creek.
Yeah. Well,
Okay. Lately, it's been getting worse and worse and worse. Last Sunday, not this past Sunday, but the Sunday before, okay? The water was past my house and coming up the storm drain. That's 5 drains up. The garbage cans were towards Highland Avenue. The water is not coming, it's coming down, it's coming from the highway. The state's been out there pumping on the highway. So what they're doing, they're trying to get rid of it off the highway. I understand that. But right when you pull into Sanford and Son, you knew that was coming, didn't you? When you pull into Sanford and Son, that pipe right there is completely plugged. The water is coming up and over, out into the road. All right?
I'm trying to visualize where on the property it is.
As soon as you pull in the driveway.
Into the driveway where the.
Yeah, as soon as you come off of Vanderbilt, there it is.
Yeah, okay. Into the creek that's right there?
The creek
Okay.
goes under that.
Yeah.
Creek goes
Under the road.
under
That's
the road.
That's the culvert you're talking about?
Pardon?
That's the culvert you're talking about? That's the pipe?
Yep, the
Okay.
pipe right there. All
Okay.
right? The water is coming from up at Earl, of course.
Yeah.
All right? And when the state's pumping, what's it doing? It's just coming up and it's not going through. It's coming up in the street. We got this much mud in the street right now from last Sunday. And then you got more trees down in the back.
The one thing that Tony, Rick, Ted and I have been discussing, because this isn't just this is a statewide, this is an environmental thing that, and Ted and I were just talking about this yesterday, I think, or Saturday, I can't remember. But that is the reason we purchased certain equipment that we're still waiting to come in, is to start doing the maintenance dredging that is required of these creeks. Because my fear, and I think it's everyone's fear, when you're driving southbound on the Parkway, at about the Lawrence Harbor exit, so what's that, 120?
120.
Yeah. So you're driving southbound, you know that creek that runs alongside right there?
That's
It used to be where you could see the water flowing.
That's
Now all of the grass is now just completely flat. It's no longer a creek. It's just a thoroughfare basically for the water to just rush down. Coming up on the 11th anniversary of Sandy, and I think it's time that all municipalities and the counties start addressing the maintenance dredging that's required of these small creeks that are only going to provide relief for anyone when a storm comes through. And I meant to bring it up when Jim was up here talking about preparedness, and OEM preparedness. We met last Tuesday, I think it was, to discuss Hurricane Lee that was, in the Bahamas and Cuba, wherever it was at that point in time, just so that we would have an idea as to, we need to start preparing today for what it was. Ted was getting all the generators ready. Eventually, knock on wood, you don't have another Superstorm Sandy, but you're going to have another storm. And it's I think incumbent on the state and on counties and every municipality out there, we're all equals in this, to get that maintenance dredging done on our creeks throughout the state of New Jersey to prevent that flooding from happening. And Wagner's is definitely going to have to be one of them.
Because like I said, that one time in July, the whole outfield and the baseball field all the way up was completely flooded. And the 50 years.
That was when you had, that was before we did that debris clearing of all that dead trees and vines out there that was all up against Sanford and Sons.
No, this July, this past July. The one year.
I'm saying, but that happened before you removed all of that debris that was sitting inside.
Oh,
the
yeah,
creek
right. Yeah,
itself,
okay.
you know
The
what I'm
one
saying?
that's was there. Yeah.
Removing those blockages allows for that water to run more freely.
Well, I
right?
understand that, but that's what I'm saying. But if you go, I can't get into the back half where it goes over and over towards Highland Avenue to Center Avenue. There's all trees down in there and everything. I mean, a while back, Ted and I, we walked that. We took pictures back there. We seen the trees back there. I mean.
It's the same thing with McLeese and others.
Oh, I understand that 110%. We got this whole problem to this whole darn town. You got the problem like that. No
Well, like I
matter,
said,
you know.
and I think that in the conversations that I'm having with both sides of the aisle in the Senate about easing certain restrictions when it comes to the maintenance dredging of these creeks. Because right now, in my opinion, the permitting process is a little bit too cumbersome to do just maintenance dredging. Where are you gonna get rid of the dredge spoils? What are you gonna do with them? How are you gonna, who's gonna verify that you're only going 2 feet down? These are different things that I think can be eased to make it easier for municipality, for a county, and for the state, because we all have our own culverts, all have our own streams, we all have our own bodies of water that we all need to maintain. And now's the time to do it. So let's ease those restrictions.
Why? All right, let me ask you one question. Why would you want to dredge the creek? Now you're going to get into a.
I'm not saying your case in particular, but there are areas.
No, I'm talking any creek. Let's just talk any creek.
Because if you dredge 2 feet along 100 feet of space of a stream, think about now the silt that over, let's call it a decade, if you're lucky, that has accumulated at the bottom of a stream. So now you're taking all that runoff and you're.
I know exactly what you're saying. Why am I driving at is, why do you want to dredge it? Why don't you just pick it up and move it? You don't need a permit to do that, because we've had a meeting.
It's called maintenance dredging.
We've talked about this a long time. It's one thing to go and take fallen trees, branches, debris, trash, whatever that in the creeks. You can take that out. That's only part of the solution. The other part of the problem is the silt that's built up in there since Sandy. So in other words, all the creeks have decreased volume to hold water. So if you take out, let's just say it's 2 feet worth of silt out of all those creeks, they can hold that much more water. So they're less likely to flood streets and baseball fields and things like that.
Okay, no, I understand what you're saying.
Like necessarily with a dredge.
Right.
You're
Your
backhoe.
clamshell.
Yep.
Okay. What I'm driving at is mainly right now, if you can pick it up and get rid of the debris that's in there without dredging, that's going to start eliminating some of your problem. It's going to, when you got a creek coming down, you got a tree sitting here like this, what's going to happen?
I hear what you're saying, and I agree with you. But there has to be a holistic, it's not, one thing is not going to fix this issue, right? It has to be a series, a well thought out, planned execution for each one of these streams in order to prevent the flooding that in certain areas that you see. It has to occur.
So by that time, I won't see it.
If I get my way. I think.
It ain't going to happen overnight, and I know that.
No, but I'm having very good conversations with both Senator O'Scanlan and Senator Gopal to sponsor legislation so that we can, in fact, I was on the phone with Vin earlier today about easing up the restrictions when it comes to maintenance dredging.
Okay, but why can't we just get someone over there, or
Well, Ted will say.
whatever,
I hear you.
pull that out by that pipe and so we can
go
get it sorted?
Go deeper than just a tree that's laying across. Right?
No.
There's a decade or 2 or 3 worth of silt that's sitting at the bottom of that stream. That's all I'm saying.
Right. No, I agree with that 100%. But what I'm trying to say is we can get this from coming into the road right by the Sanfords and just clean that pipe out. Now we got a flow. That's all.
Yeah, we could.
You got a flow.
Go ahead.
It's funny you brought this up today, Vic, because as I was leaving the office tonight, I was talking to Vic, who was over talking to one of your neighbors closer to the entrance down there. And he told us about how bad it was flooding this past rainstorm. So what we're gonna do is go out there, the culvert that over the driveway under the driveway that crosses into the new skate park.
Right.
We're gonna go out there. We're probably gonna meet with Ian tomorrow and have him go out there with a machine and clear out around that culvert and open that up, because Vic looked at it and said it was clogged up pretty good.
Yeah, because if you go over there and you see it, I know probably who you were talking to is that corner house right there. It was 8 feet up into his yard.
That's what he said, right? So we'll get out there and clear that out. And like the mayor said, that's the immediate problem.
Yeah, that'll get it off the road.
But we'll work on the long-term problem as well to get everything
And
cleared.
plus, like I said, we got 6-7 inches of mud out there on that street right now, and rock
Yep.
and everything. So,
Yep, I heard about it today, actually. yeah.
okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. Any other member of the public wishing to make a public comment? Seeing no other member of the public stepping forward, move to close the public portion and adjourn.
Second.
Committeewoman Kratz.
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Hybel.
Yes.
Mayor Perry.
Yes.
Motion carries to adjourn.
Have a great day. Have a great night, everybody. Thank you all.